Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of A Dairyman's Diary Season 2. My name is Will, and today, this afternoon here, we're going to make a start with some hay, which is quite exciting. No, I just need to pull wide here so we can swing the massey in. But yeah, we've got about, not a great deal of hay down actually. All in, I think we're looking in the region of about 15 acres with this field and the field that we threw out with the old Massey last episode. As I look around the corner here, you can see that we've got quite a few more fields all baled up here. That is, for now at least, all of our silage bales done. We're going to get these cleared in the next few days, but the weather's supposed to turn tomorrow. As you can see, there's a few grey clouds in already, so I want to get this hay baled, and then we can worry about the silage bales kind of later on. If we have to leave those in when it's a little damp, so be it. But yeah, they were not my number one priority for now. There's quite a bit of hay ground here actually, or quite a bit of hay on the ground. The grass has been quite thick, so it's had a little bit longer than normal to kind of dry out. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how this comes along. We got the 6480 hooked up to the baler, and we'll just get that, knock off our lights I suppose. There we go. Get the pickup down. Yeah, like I say, we've got a couple of fields to run it. We've got this one and then the one on the far side of our land, up by Dad's place to be honest, but we'll get that when we can get around to it. Yeah, so for now we're going to get this one done. We got this all rigged up earlier on today and it's looking good. We've got an awful lot of bales to kind of get led in at the moment, but we're still down the track. The New Holland is still yet to be fixed, so we need to have a look into that one, see what's causing that issue, and we'll have a look from there. But yeah, so far so good. We're just going to keep motoring on here, see how it goes. This is the first real outing for the baler, so wouldn't be surprised if we have to have a little bit of a fiddle with it. Sometimes, you know, it just takes a little bit of working up and getting into speed and the gear there, but we can only do what we can, and we'll see how it all comes along. Otherwise though, everything is looking mightily good. Very happy with how it's all coming. Silage wise, we're kicking up towards the 150 bale mark now before we've got into the depths of our second cut. So that's putting us in good stead really, giving us a good number moving forward. And we'll hopefully see that should be plentiful. We're probably going to have about another, about another 200 acres of second cut, some of which will be hay. Probably about half that will be hay, so we'll probably add another 70 or so bales on, silage bales to our list. But yeah, all in all we're going to have a good number, and it's going to be, the pit's looking good as well. That's coming along, looking very, very good. So grass wise we should be alright. But we'll have to wait and see really. Straw, I have no idea how the straw's coming on yet. I imagine we're going to be a little bit low on the straw numbers, purely based off the fact that we've had a little bit of hit and miss ground, or growing really, for the spring crops. It got a really wet spring, really struggled to establish, and then it's been baked over the last few days. It's been so hot that, as you can see, the crops are already starting to turn on us. They're nowhere near ready yet, but they are turning, so that's a little bit of a frustration that we're going to have to kind of figure out and deal with, but we will do in our own time. We'll get that one sorted. Now what I'm going to do here, that's a little bit tight to take in one hit, so we'll just lift that up and we'll swing away. Oh, and there's our first bale. We are pushing out Heston bales here, so we'll have a look to see what they're coming along like. But yeah, I don't imagine we'll get too many bales off here. It's not the biggest field, and we might only get one or two off the far field we're going to. But like I say, it's a warm-up really. Doesn't need to be too big or too heavy. We just need to get them baled. And then we'll likely try and get these cleared today and stacked up into the shed, just so we can get them out of the way. I think we might be due a little rain tomorrow. It'd be nice if we get a little rain tomorrow, purely because we're desperate for it. And it'll really help this grass grow again and really kick on. But we shall see. We will very much see. So the New Holland, the T6, we're still waiting on parts for that to arrive. It's still, there's the issue with the ECU, the engine control management or control unit, whatever it likes to be defined as. There's an issue with that that's preventing the fuel sensor from working, which is shutting down the whole computer really. So we're a little bit stuck there for now. The mechanics have been out and had a look at it, and we're still waiting. They're going to have to come back to us really and see what they can do there. But hopefully sooner rather than later that will be good. and we'll get that tractor back and working. We need that tractor working soon, well, sooner rather than later, that's for sure. We'll have to use the old little Massey now a little bit more, because that's doing some of the smaller jobs like work on the tedder and the wrapper, things like that. Which is fine, it can handle it, but it would always be nice to have your own machine set up and working. Yeah, the baler's handling, or this Massey handles the baler very nicely. As someone rightly pointed out there, we could ideally have a bigger Massey, and you never know, we might look to a bigger machine in the future. Well, this one is going to be due for renewal soon. But yeah, we can always have a look, see. But we'll keep rumbling on and get this field done. Like I said, that's the headlands done already, and what we've got is that 2 big bales, maybe 3. 3 big Hestons there. They're a fair size. They really are. If we just stop here, we're going to have a look at them, see if they're looking alright, see if the strings are nice and tight on them, and see how it's all coming together. But as you can see here, so we got quite a brutish bale. We use Hestons just because it's easier to handle them. We need a lot of bales. So if we had anything smaller, we'd just be pushing out even more of them, really. But yeah, as you can see, they're a fairly good sized bale here. Strings are nice and tight, nice and compact bale, which leads me to think that the bale pressures and densities are all dialed up properly, which is fantastic news. As you can see, moving across the field here, the swaths are still got nice and thick. There's a good length of grass on this field when we mowed it down. So yeah, we're going to get a few more bales off here, but we'll get flying through this field. This baler we could put a bigger tractor on here. The 6480 does handle it quite well, but we could always go bigger. But we don't really need anything too much bigger for this, as we progress with our other jobs really across the yard. So as much as maybe I would like to go bigger, it doesn't make much financial sense really when this tractor handles everything we can throw at it. For now, we'll just take this run up the middle, and we'll get ourselves working through here. We do have a few contract straw jobs lined up there. Nothing of our own is ready anywhere near yet, but there's a few contracts that are looking good so far, so we'll have to get ourselves over there and see how that's shaping up. And yeah, hopefully we can get that done. They haven't cut it yet, but the customer in question said that they're probably only about another 5 days to a week away from cutting their barley down. So when that's ready, we'll be taking the Massey on a tour, and we'll go and see what we can do, which would be nice to get out and about and take some of the land on. And it does give a little side project as well. It gives us a little bit of additional revenue in there, which is always a good thing. Honestly, I like getting out and about and doing baling work. It's a nice little easy contract work to do. We'll just spin around there, take it nice and easy on the baler, on the CV joints, and we'll collect this little bit in the corner that we missed. And cut in, and just like that, we're nearly finished this field, which is great stuff. So we'll get this field all wrapped up here, and then we'll ramble on over to the other field there, which is tiny, to be honest. There's nothing to it at all. And then we're going to have to do some yard work when I get back. We have Greg, who's away on leave at the moment. He's taking a little break with his family. Take the kids away, I do believe. So we'll have to go and just do a little bit of yard work, tidy up around the cattle sheds, things like that. But yeah, nothing too big. But yeah, the main task for today is just about getting this done. We might actually then bring the JCB out and see if we can get this all wrapped up, but we'll have to wait and see. Get these. There's not a great deal of bales here, but it will be always nice to get them all tucked up in the barn. We're probably going to have to shift some machines down to Dad's place, because we're going to need a lot of storage around the yard there for bales. That's the main issue. What we are thinking about doing is there's a bit of a stripped land up by the sawmill, which that was a field once, then they had it as a storage yard, but they don't actually use it as such these days. So we might look to see if we can use it, see if we can strike a deal to buy that land or buy a portion of that land, because I'd like to put a storage shed up there, something that we can use just to keep machines stored out the way, really. And certainly something that we're thinking about, put it that way. But yeah, that's something that we need to think about. We're nowhere near that stage yet, but it's something that was kind of a work in progress, really. But before we go out here, we're just going to have a quick look, check over the balers, looking nice and clean. We always like to clean it down at the edge of each field, particularly when we're on a contract job, because we like to control, when we're baling straw, we like to control blackgrass, and we like to keep it in the locations and not transfer it around. But yeah, we're looking nice and clean here. That's all good. And we'll get ourselves out the field and onto the next one. We're just cruising along the road now. We've got ourselves away. It's always nice just to rumble along the road with a baler on the back here. Once you get up to a bit of speed, it's alright, but it can just take a little bit of work and just to kind of get this tractor up to speed here. The transmission's good, but that baler's got a fair bit of weight to it. We're just going to take our time as we come towards the houses in the village here, as we don't want to, when we meet everyone, we want to be able to handle it nice and slowly. And yeah, like I say, we've got this small little field on the side here. It's going to take no time at all just to rumble through, and then we'll head on back down to our yard, and we can get ourselves all looked after. Very quaint little kind of hamlet is GWENDDWR. Very nice little place, and yeah, it's always quite quiet in here, with the exception of for when I come rumbling through. Now this is a little bit tight, but we'll swing into here. I need to change this around so it makes it a little bit easier for me to come in with larger equipment. Getting bales out of here is a real issue, actually. I might just leave this as it is and put a gateway down the bottom, just to see how that fares. Okay, then that's good enough there. So we'll just unfold our baler back out. As you can see, not a great deal to crack on with here, but we'll get it all done nonetheless there. And yeah, we'll probably get about half a dozen bales at best off of here, but it's half a dozen more than we had beforehand, so we'll get them all stacked up, get them under cover as well, hopefully by the end of today. So for those of you who can't tell that, I have got a useless summer cold, but we're fighting through it. Overworked, I think, is the main reason for it, but we're fighting along anyway, so do bear with me if I start to lose my voice or anything like that. I've got the air conditioning on here, which probably doesn't help, but it's too darn hot not to have it. But yeah, we're flying through anyway. Thank you for all of the kind words for the recent episodes. I'm very, very pleased and glad that you've all enjoyed it. It's been fantastic to see. Glad you are all enjoying what we're getting up to here on this. Well, I kind of describe it as a bit more of a medium scale dairy farm. Plenty to keep us going with, that's for sure. And yeah, it's be interesting to see how we go. We're always looking to progress and get cracking, so we'll have to wait and see there. But yeah, it's nice to always bring you along for the drive. This field, as you can see, has a little less on it actually. The yield here is nowhere near as good, so we might not even get 6 bales off this, but it needs to be mowed down anyway, just to kind of encourage some better growth, which we should get coming through here. I don't know if we'll take a second cut off here. I'm not quite sure on that one. We'll have to see. It's unlikely that it's going to get any fertilizer, so we'll just leave it to see what it does. And that's the first headland all buttoned up. Oh, we got a bale. There we go. So what are you all getting up to? I hope you're doing very well, whatever you are. How is your harvest coming along? Do let us know in the comments below what you're working on, where you're working, and how it's going. I always like to respond, but I'm also very interested to see what everyone's doing, really. Maybe you're rocking the same setup as us. Maybe you're got the Massey baler working hard. But yeah, do let us know. And around we go. So we're going to get this field finished. There's not a lot to do here, as you can well tell. You know, in the next couple of seconds we'll be done. It takes longer to drive over here and get into the field than it does to actually bale it by the looks of things. That being said, we'll get this wrapped up, and then we're going to head on back over to the yard there, where we can look into getting. Well, we just need to do some odds and ends, really, get the cattle all tidied up and probably feed them up for the evening. And we'll get that done though. So we'll come back to you and see you in just a short while once we're all safely back at the yard. Alright then folks, we have just parked up back at the yard here. We're going to keep this baler in this shed for now, because if we look around the corner here, this big shed we've got here is going to be used for storing our bales in. So what that does mean is that the harrows are going to go over to Dad's today, and then we start to stack those bales in there this evening, all being well. This is the New Hollander that's still, well, that doesn't run still. It's been, we pulled it out of the workshop so the fitter could get around it and try and test a few things, so that's why that's there. We've still got the hay team all stacked up here. This is the hay and silage team really. So what we need to do, we need to take the rake off the John Deere because we're going to use that to put the water tanker on because we need to fill up the water for the cattle. Then we also need to park the rake up. It's probably just going to stay in this field here for now actually. I would think. So we'll head on over and we'll jump into the John Deere. And then yeah, we can take that off there. This will eventually go back down to Dad's as well. But for the time being we're doing alright really. We just need to clear out a little bit of space so we can roll around here. And get everything going. So we'll stop here. And yeah, and that just allows us a little bit more space so we can get ourselves rolling properly. Now it seems like we're going to be able to, we'll get these all fed up this evening. The cloud cover's kind of stayed as it is, so it seems like we're going to be able to get that hay stacked up this evening like I mentioned there. The silage bales, well, they can stay out for a little bit longer. But that can maybe be a job for tomorrow, but yeah, we'll set this away. I think we need to fill this up before we can use it. I don't think Greg filled it up last time. Looks that way. So unfortunately we still don't have any mains water for our installed for our water troughs. That's something we're going to have a look at. And we will probably look into that over the course of the winter maybe if we can once we have them inside. But for now when they're outside we just give them a little bit more water when it's been a bit dry because there's no water coming from like the rain hasn't left any moisture in the ground there. So that's what we kind of think about these days. Alright then, we're full and we're good to go there. So we're going to scoot on down the side of this, the cattle shed. Head out around the back there and then we can just go get this filled up. As you can see from feeding, there's a big mess here that we need to take care of really. We'll get that all covered up. And yeah, once we have this all done then there's a little bit of muck in the shed that I might just chuck out into the into this little storage pit we have there. At the moment we don't have any stubble fields. Move out the way ladies, come on. We don't have any stubble fields I can put this muck onto at the moment. We will be looking to put that on, spread it and then get it all ploughed in. So we're just going to leave that there to fill up for now. That's perfect. But as you can see, there's a little bit of grass around still. We've got a good amount of grass, good amount of clover in this grass as well, which is always important. That's always a good sign. But we're just going to hop over our fence. There we go. And I think we'll just take off the baler on the Ford, and then we can take Dad's Ford back, which you'll be delighted about, because he's been hankering for this for a while. And he won't let it go that I'm still using it. Which is funny because I don't really want to let it go. So we're in a little bit of an impasse there, but what we will do is I think we can give this a little bit of a wash down. It's probably due one. It's funny, for a good old class baler here, this has served us perfectly, and there's no signs of it misbehaving or failing in any way. Absolutely perfect machine. But yeah, what we'll do is we'll get this all cleaned down, we'll take it back over to Dad's house, he can give me a lift back here, and then we'll continue with the rest of our little bits and pieces that we need to do. And all about just kind of getting ourselves all tidied up, get the yard ship shape and everything looking good before we start to fill these sheds with bales. And then yeah, in the not too distant future there, we might look to see if we can strike up a deal really to get a little plot of land that we can build on, but we need to wait and see about that, see what comes. But that's certainly something we'll look at. We do own a little corner piece where we picked up those rollers, you may recall. But yeah, we need to look into that in a little bit more detail, and I'm sure we will. Once we get the silage out of the way, then we can kind of proceed into looking into other things whilst we wait for this crops to ripen really. For now though, we're going to rumble on back over to the other yard with the Ford and we'll get this done. So this is probably as good a point as any to call it a day for the video. So thank you ever so much for watching everyone. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to Simulation for the Nation for more. And we will see you in the next one. So until then, though, do stay safe, enjoy what you're doing as always, but most importantly, happy farming.